First things first, let's go ahead and find a position where we can get our feet completely glued together. So that's that same negative position that I was talking about earlier. This is what I want everyone to do. I want everyone to bend over. You can round your back. You can bend your knees a little bit and put your hands flat on the ground without your heels lifting up. I want the heels to stay down. Bend your knees a little bit for me. Everyone bend your knees a little bit. If you bend your knees a little bit here, is there anyone in the room that feels like their knees should cave in and not cave out? Is there anyone here that feels that? All right, go ahead and stand up. The only people that will feel like when they bend over and their knees want to cave in are the people that have suffered some sort of severe back injury, had surgery, maybe a rod, something in there, okay, and are missing 100% external rotation, 100%, a lot of it, or people that have been born with like club's feet or flat feet or something that's severely damaged downstream. Otherwise, everyone automatically has knees out. Does that make sense? Everyone has that knee out position. So when I work with the kids, they don't really understand, hey, I need to keep my knees out. So I need to block movement. How do I block movement? I bring their feet together. So bringing things to the midline gets me to move in a more optimal fashion. So check this out. This is what I do with my kids. I put them down in this position. I have them put their hands on their knees, and I flatten out their back. And they're like, okay, I get that. I see the knees. They don't move. Now, I'm going to widen the stance a little bit. I bend over. Knees are out. Hands on the knees. Flatten out the back. I go a little wider. Hands down. Hands on the knees. Flatten out the back. Once they're there, drop. That's it. And that way I can start developing that knee out position with toes straight forward without having to worry about, hey, push your knees out from the beginning. Does that make sense? Do we see that? Great. So anytime I bring things into the midline, arms, legs, and I take myself into flexion, or extension, I will always see my hips going into the right position. I always optimize position by bringing things together. That's why gymnasts work like that. Okay? Does that make sense? Great. Now, this is what I want everyone to do. When I tell you to, you're going to bend over. Hands are going to come down. When I say go, you're going to kick your feet out into a push-up position. When I say go again, you're going to jump your feet back in, and you're going to stand. Okay? You guys ready? So feet together, ankles together, hands down. When I say go, you're going to kick out. Ready? And go. Yeah, that's hard with your feet together, right? When I say go, you're going to jump your feet back in, and they should land in the same position you originally started in. Ready? And go. And freeze. Look at your feet. Did your toes turn out? Yeah, fix your toes. Did your feet separate? Okay, bring your feet together. All right, let's try this again. Ready? And go. Yeah. When I say go, you're going to jump back in. Are you ready? And go. Did your feet change? Oh, was it better this time? All right, go ahead and rest. If it didn't get better, there's a very simple solution. We can grab, for example, a band. So if I grab a band or a towel or whatever, I can put this little sucker. Who felt like they were losing their foot position? You were losing? Can you show us? Kicks out, and then back in. Oh, there go the feet, right? You see the toes? Now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab this band. There we go, yeah. And we're going to put this in between your feet. Go ahead and open your feet a little bit, and now pinch it with your big toes. There you go. Even more. Let's put, there you go. Okay, go for it. And go. I got it. And go. Oh, close, huh? He's lost a little bit of position. So this is what happens. I'm just going to grab this box here for a second. I think I'm going to have to grab it right here. Okay. So if the toes are still separating or I can't hold on to this little sucker, I put this box in front of him. Now go ahead and pinch that sucker again. Just pinch it with your big toes so you're not cheating with the heels. There. Put your hands on the box. Kick out. And kick back in. And now stand up. So much easier, right? Mm-hmm. That's how I scale a burpee. I don't want my athletes to go wide to get the burpee at first. I want everyone to start with their feet together because I optimize position. Position comes first. Range of motion second. Load, speed, freestyle, change. So I start them on a box, and then I work their way down. Does that make sense? So that's how I want to start the progression, just to optimize position before movement. Cool? That's it. So let's go ahead and kick that box out of the way. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Whoop. Dismantled. The hooks are over there. That makes sense, right? Okay. Now we're going to add another piece. So hands are down. I'm going to kick out. You're going to allow yourself to drop your hips as far down as you can. You're going to squeeze your butt as tight as you can. And from here, when I say go, snap. Bring your feet in. Does that make sense? Okay, so feet together, ankles together. Hands to the ground. And go. Drop the hips down. Squeeze the butt. Watch out so you don't fall apart. Arms straight. There you go. This looks like yoga. And go. Check your feet. Watch your feet. Let's try this one more time. Ready? And go. Good. Hips down, chest up. It's a fast snap. Snap your hips. Ready? And go. There you go. It's a lot of speed on that puppy. Does that make sense, guys? Do you guys see that? You're allowed to use skill, which is bowing from extension to flexion, to generate more power. Now, what's happening? Because we have a position of high tension, this position, and we're coming from a position of low tension, as we come in, we feel like everything wants to break. It wants to separate from that path of tension. So it deviates. That's why my toes turn out. My feet want to go wide. Make sense? So the last skill I want to teach you guys today and make you guys aware of is the skill of taking tension away from the finishing position. Remember what we talked about earlier? We said, I want to add a point of contact at the finish position so I can have stability and I can finish in a position of optimal stability for performance. You remember that? Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that position and we're going to take tension away. And how we do it is by taking points of contact away. Does that make sense? So it looks like this. When I snap my feet in, right before my feet touch the ground, I'm going to lift my hands up. That takes tension away from the lower body and allows me to place my feet down without me feeling like I have to break. Do you want to give that a shot? So feet together, hands down, and kick out. Hips down, chest up. When I say go, you're going to snap your feet in right before your feet touch the ground. You're going to pick your hands up. Are you ready? And go. You guys see the difference? You feel that? Does this make sense? Good. If you didn't do it and you felt like your hands came off the ground right away, you need to start thinking about this. As your feet come in, they're creating rotation. Allow that kick to rotate you to a standing position. It's almost like you want to fall back. Fall back. So let's try that one more time. Feet together.
What happens when you fall forward? I'm sorry. That's just.
Don't worry.
Don't make me do it. No.
Kick all the way through. Don't worry. We'll worry about that later. All right. Kick out. Hips down. Chest tall. When I say go, you're going to snap your feet in, and you're going to feel like you're falling backwards. You're going to pass your hands almost with your feet. Ready? And go. Yeah. Do you feel that? You're pushing back. So for kids, this is what we do a little bit for them to understand Olympic weightlifting. I can get them into their second pull a little sooner. Does that make sense? Do you guys see that? Good. Okay, let's go a little further. Now, there's a thing in gymnastics where you jump up. This is for girls mostly. And they do a little straddle, and then they land on their chest. It's like a suicide jump to their chest. Have you seen that before? It's called a Susunova. We're going to do something very similar. It looks like this. Don't be scared. It's the baby step. Hands come down. Right before my hands touch, kick, drop. Chest comes up, snap, stand. Cool? Does that make sense? Okay, let's try this. Feet together. I start bending over right before my hands touch. Kick out, drop. Chest up, and snap, stand. Easy day. What are we missing? Done deal. That's your burpee.
What's the seating position for that moment? It's kind of I'm getting a real shoulder shock when I.
Yes. Can you show us how you're doing it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking about where we're going.
Because I'm going to see if they can fix you. Big shoulder shock?
Yeah, but
Okay.
especially if we're going to do 50.
Correct. So now, what would we do with him? If he's getting a lot of shoulder shock when he's landing on his chest like that, and he's,
With that Lululemon, right?
yeah, totally, that little Susunova, the little Shushamandi,
This guy's thinking girls.
totally. How do we fix it? How do we fix it? What do we do for him? Get on a box, for example, right? Don't drop, I heard. Totally. No stepping. No stepping. Say that again?
Starting position started here.
He started there? Yeah, for sure. Well, that's another, but he has now pain in the shoulders.
I'm just talking about that momentary drop.
Totally. Do you feel comfortable doing this?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Can you show me that?
It's just with that actual.
I completely understand. There. Did it hurt now? No. Good. So then you want your feet to touch before you drop. That's all. We give him a point of stability, and that way he has access to what he knows how to do best. And then once we put speed on it, eventually he'll adapt into what I just taught you guys. And there should be no pain. If there's pain, there's something wrong. That make sense? Great. We're going to do 15 burpees right now. 15, 1-5. And how we're going to do this is the following. The first 5 are slow with our feet completely glued together. The next 5 are going to be slow but with our feet a little wider, whatever we like and feels comfortable. I'm just going to avoid my toes turning out. And then the last 5 are as fast as you possibly can go. Okay? Does that make sense? However you want to do it. You're the boss. Okay?
Why don't you do one so we can see it?
Why don't you guys do 15? I like it. Why don't you do one?
I want to see a perfect one done.
There is no. Do you guys remember what I said this morning? What's the perfect squat? There isn't one, right? Everyone's looking like, tell me how to do it. You set the standard. That's the beauty of movement. Remember I told you that CrossFit is kind of like a freestyle strength and conditioning program, that you kind of pick where you want to go and there's all these options. Your burpee is as beautiful as your next door neighbors. As long as you're trying to find all the things that we talked about today, the efficiency of movement. How do you get more bang from your buck? That's all. 5 feet together slow, 5 feet a little bit wider apart, don't turn the toes out. 5 as fast as you can, whatever that looks like. Are you guys ready? Go. It's all you. I could be coaching you all day right now. You know that landing on your toes in a dog poo position is weird. And this is not fast. This is all controlled. Remember how we were holding on to that thing? Try to hold on to it. Try to get your feet flat. Remember that little turnover, lifting your hands up?
I sure do.
Yeah. Yeah. So once you separate your feet, make sure you don't turn out your feet like a duck. Keep squatting like you're an athlete. Keep doing burpees like you're an athlete. You feel the toes?
Yeah.
Mary Poppins.
I see him every time.
Yeah, what's happening there, huh? You don't run like a duck. Let's not do burpees like a duck. Now, no squatting, just bending over. What does that look like?
What's that?
No squatting, just bending over. And now kick out. Yeah, it's okay. Bend the knees just a little bit. And now kick out. You got it. You don't even have to touch the ground. You can kick out, remember? Kick out.
I'm trying to do the same shoulder thing he's doing.
Don't worry. Don't look at him. There you go. Yeah, you got it. One more time. There you go. All right. So check this out. Can I use this as an example?
Yep.
Come on out. Right here. Touch your toes for me. It's a little stiff, right? Let me just do a half-second touch, right? A little stiff. Now show us a burpee. Go one burpee. Do you guys see that little squat that he does there? Is that good or bad?
Bad.
It's good for him.
It's good for him, sure. Now, what I want to do is I want to maximize everything. I want to optimize position. The reason Kelly Starrett has become what he's become is because he understands position. He understands how to emphasize that. But when we're moving, we need to be able to take that position and give it some love. So right now, you're just saying, screw it. I'm so stiff. Let me just do this crappy dog squat where I can like poop my pants and then kick out. And you're like, that's what's good for me. But in reality, he's leaving a lot of, bang for his buck on the table. So if you check this out, I'm just going to grab a pen here. He is stiff, so it costs him money. But if I have my center of mass at point A and I want to take it to point B, what's the shortest distance? Straight line, right? Right now, when we are practicing bending over, do you see how my center of mass is in the same place? It didn't move. And then I just dropped this straight down. What you're doing is you're bringing your center of mass down to a point C. Work. And then you're kicking out. And then you're coming back to that point C, and then you're hoping to stand up in a good position. So you're traveling almost 2 times as much as the rest of the population.
Thank you, Brad. He's coming more ground than all of us. That's fantastic.
Right? So if there's 100 millimeters, let's say from top to bottom, you're doing something like this, covering 200. That's a 50% efficiency in your burpee from an energy standpoint, expenditure. Does that make sense? Mechanical. So what I want to do is I want to give him access to better position, but also better performance. Right now he's like, that doesn't feel good to me. It feels uncomfortable. I want to try to do the jump out like Boss is doing because I don't want my shoulders to hurt. I don't want to get damage in my shoulder. What do? Do we compromise position or do we compromise range of motion first? Yeah, and that sounds a little weird because we always say, hey, maintain range of motion in your workouts. But sometimes the scaling doesn't happen the right way. So I would grab a box for him where he can actually bend over and comfortably touch the box and now kick out until he finds the movement pattern. And once he gets the movement pattern, I can start bringing that box down, and then eventually he will tighten this little sucker up until it fits the line. Does that make sense? And that will bring your mobility back. Same way we talked about the kipping for the pull-ups and the muscle-ups. It's the same idea, same concept. How can I minimize the distance I'm traveling and still emphasize good position so I can get better range of motion? Range of motion in the joint doesn't necessarily mean range of motion that my center of mass covers from point A to point B. Does that make sense, guys? Most of the times when I increase range of motion in the joint, I get less distance to cover from a center of mass perspective. Does that make sense, or does that sound crazy? That can confuse. The more range of motion I can create locally, usually the less distance I have to cover from a center of mass perspective. Does that make sense? Kind of? Yeah, you see that? Good. That's your burpee. Any epiphanies while doing these burpees? Burpees still suck. Good. I like it. Go ahead.
You can go from a strict push-up to a dirty push-up and make some more money on that.
Totally. So all of a sudden, we don't have to do that strict push-up to make the burpee actually work for us. Does it mean that I'll never do a strict push-up again? Not necessarily. I will do. I definitely will. Will I never go into a squat again where I do this? I totally will. Yeah. But the first one to learn is the one that's blocked, the one that's minimizing the distance covered in my center of mass. That's all. Cool? Does that make sense? Did you notice when you went slow how your body had to bow a lot in order to make it happen? And then once you sped it up, it was moving a little less. Did you guys see that? So this bowing action, the reason why when you do Olympic weightlifting, you guys have been coaching Olympic weightlifting, you don't want to see a lot of extension here, is because we want to get more vertical power, but we do still want to make it into some extension, but we want to minimize that horizontal oscillation. It's the same thing as running. When I run, I want to imagine that I have a ceiling overhead. I don't want a lot of horizontal oscillation because then I'm covering a marathon plus, 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 plus every bounce. Does that make sense? You see that? You guys understand that? That's what I'm trying to explain there. So finding that happy medium is the best place. Who competed in the open here? CrossFit Open, yeah. Do you guys remember the first workout, 7 minutes of love? That's my favorite workout of all time. The reason is because the standard was set so beautifully where you had to touch a target overhead. Everyone's like, it's way faster to go here. Oh, now I have to jump. Oh, I have to bring my feet in a little closer. But you don't want to go too close because this costs too much money. So you had to find exactly the width that worked for you. So I really enjoyed that work, and I thought that was a great standard, great test. And it's awesome that it was monostructural, just one movement, and for a fair amount of time. Okay, does that make sense? Coolio? I loved it.
Give yourself a round of applause for your pre-12.1 video.
Let's do it. Did it? That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Any questions on what we just saw there?
Yes. When I go down, I don't know if I'm going like too like. Slam.
Yeah, slamming? I don't know. Do you want to show us?
Well, this one I didn't.
Yeah, totally. So it's one of those things. Yes. Yes. You can do it however you want, as long as this, safe. Don't knock the air out of you, like kill yourself. It gets crazy.
What's causing my feet to end up in the...
Check this out, guys. What's causing my feet to turn out? What do you guys think that is? Do you guys know? What is causing his feet to turn out? Yeah, so check this out. It's a very simple concept. When my hip goes into flexion, it needs external rotation. Okay, does that make sense? When it goes into flexion, it needs external rotation. When it goes into extension, it needs internal rotation at joint level. Does that make sense? So as you're jumping in and you're flexing, most likely you're missing external rotation. That's why it's having to jump out to give you room in the capsule at joint level. And the expression is coming out through the toe. Have you ever seen people run that when they're in the back, they get that? Yeah. That is lack of internal rotation at extension of the hip. Does that make sense? So anytime you see someone running, they need to work on extension, internal rotation. Anytime you see, bam, toe turn out in the front, flexion, external rotation. Does that make sense? Do you see that? So that's all you need to work on. Any questions? That makes sense, right? That's pretty clear? Okay. Who here cannot climb the rope or has never climbed the rope? Never been able to make it all the way up? Never climbed the rope, never climbed the rope. Anyone else? Never climbed the rope, never climbed the rope. Why is that? Never tried. Do you want to try? Do you want to try? Sure. Have you ever tried? No. Oh, no. If you start climbing up, can you just climb halfway just so you don't have to jump down? Whoever wants to try it, just jump up. Let's see what happens.
I don't even know how to, like...
Oh, weird. Go, just see what happens. I don't even know how to, like, right? That's what I'm talking about. Okay, good. Perfect. That's all I wanted to see. You want to try? You don't know how either? Nope. Okay. That's right. That sucker. You want to try? Go for it. Yeah, so she could climb it, right? Just go halfway. That's it. Good. Now come down. So she could climb it. It would be hard, but she could. Right? You felt it, that you're strong enough to climb it. Why is it we can't climb the rope?
Because we're using our muscles.
We're what?
We're using our muscles only. And
You're
not
using muscles.
You're not using your hips to drive you up.
True, so you're a very upper body dominant. Here's what's happening. That you see this foreign object and you're just like, what do I do with it? What if I made this 2 ropes and I made a ladder out of it? Could you climb it then? Could you climb it then? Yeah. What if I made it like a fixed ladder where it's like welded? Could you climb it then? Yes. What if I tilted it over? Could you climb it up with just your feet? Yeah, probably you could balance that. If I made it a staircase, no problem. So we've learned to walk. We understand this. We can take this walking to stepping, right? We learn to kind of push up and pull up a little bit, ring row and pull ups. So we can take it to climbing a ladder. But then all of a sudden we have this one object kind of piece, weird, very close to the midline, just moving around a lot. I don't know how to access it. So what I want to do is I want to create the steps. And in order to create the steps, I need to give you a place where I can emphasize your main power generator and I can give you as many points of contact that are fixed as possible. So here's the drill. First thing I want you guys to try, rope in between your legs. One knee comes up, hip below the knee. Wrap around, kick out in front of you. Simple as that. Arms overhead and relaxed. I stand on the rope and now I'm hooked in. I'm not doing anything with my arms. I'm completely relaxed. You want to try it? Give it a shot. So stand with the rope in between your legs. Arms over your head. There. Bring your knee up as high as you can. Wrap it around the rope and kick out. And let's get the toe higher than your hip. Right there. You're like a ballerina. Now, bring one hand down a little lower. There, just like that. Good. You're going to put that foot on top of the rope with your toe turned in this way, like that. Does that make sense? There. Now relax the arms, relax the hips. Relax the hips. Relax the hips more. There, more. Stand on this thing. Stand on it. See how he's pulling with his hips and with his arms? As soon as I let go, you're going to slip. There. Now relax the hips. Bring one hand down a little bit deeper. Come down a little bit more. Even more. Even more. Now straighten out the legs. But the hips down. Hips down more. Down with the hips. Relax. There you go. You're sitting in a hammock. Extend these knees. Just extend that, but hip down. There. Do you see how you're hanging there? Are you okay there? Yeah. Good. Look at him. Hanging like a monkey. Good. Come on down. Does that make sense? You guys follow that? You want to try it? Give it a shot. You stand with the rope in between your legs. You pick one knee up. You wrap it around and you kick out in front of you. Some pistol action right here. Now, put the foot on top and stand on it this way. Turn that in. There. You got it? I'm going to let go. Just stand on it. Oh, hooked in. Relax your arms. There. Doesn't that feel kind of nice? No. It was better than you slipping and looking like it was greasy rope, right? Do you want to try it? Sure. Give it a shot. Kick out in front of you. Straighten out the leg. Foot on top of the rope and let your hips hang. There you go. See how she's hooked in there? Does that feel okay? Yeah. Good. Okay, come on down. So now, that shape, if you look at it, it looks exactly the same as the muscle up drill at the end with my toes up, right? But now because I have a fixed point of contact, I can immediately go into the next step. Do you guys remember what the next step was? Hips. And then sit up. Do you guys see that? That's what we're going to do. So we're going to go wrap, kick out, hips, sit up, reach. You want to give it a shot? Yeah, just that way. Kick it out. The higher you kick it, the better. The lower the hands, the better right now. That way you have more hip. There. Hips down, hips up, and reach. You can do 1, 2 if you want. 1, 2. It's okay. This is tricky. A little technique. Knee up higher. So bend the knee. That rope will fall through. Now extend the leg. Keep the hips away. Stand on top of it. Good. Drop the hips. Drop the hips. There. You guys see that? You're hanging. Hips and reach. Now reach. There you go. See, there you go. That's a step. Come on down. Does that make sense? if the foot is lower than the hip, the rope is going to burn the crap out of your leg. When the foot is higher than the hip, it's just going to pinch it a little bit. Okay? Comfy. No blood. Do you want to try it? Give it a shot. For the love of rope climbing. Kick out in front of you. There you go. Stand on it. So see how you pull? As soon as you pull with the arms, what happens? Lose power. When you stand on the rope, stand on it like this. Don't stand like this. There. There. Go for it. On the rope. Stand on the rope. On the rope. There. Don't use your arms. Don't pull with your arms. Relax. Are you hooked in there? Are you hooked in? Or you're not wanting to stand on it? You have to stand on the rope. If you don't stand on the rope, it's just going to slip through. Does that make sense? No? I don't understand. I don't understand. There. You ready? Relax your arms. Don't be so strong. Drop the hips. Put your foot on top of that rope. Relax the hips. Relax the hips. Relax the hips. There. Now. Hips and take a step. It's okay. Yes, you can. It's just right now that position, as soon as you start moving, can't let go of the rope. It's okay. Do you want to try it? Give it a shot. Do you guys see how this is the muscle up drill? It's the same thing. Now, hips, arms, reach. There you go. That's a step. Good. And then here comes the next step, okay? It's coming. Do you remember we did a little heel drive? So now we're going to put that heel drive in there. So I have the hang, hips, sit up, reach. And now, once I'm done with that, I do a heel drive, kick, hips, reach. Heel drive, kick, hips, reach. Make sense? To go down, partial squat, release. Partial squat, release. Never pulling with my arms. Boss? Kick out in front of you more than you think. Keep the hip lower than you think. Hips. Did I yank or did I just kind of worm my way up? Yeah, slow. Yeah, because his feet are under his hips. The other way, rope in between your legs. Bring the knee up higher, knee up higher. Don't grab the rope until the knee is up high. Do you see how you're already wrapped around? Get that foot out of the rope. Just bring, there you go. Now with the knee there, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Kick out in front, and remember, hands lower than you think. There you go. It's okay, there you go. And now, heels to your butt, kick out in front of you. But you have to have that rope in between your feet, right? So that's where it gets tricky. It's the transition that breaks the athlete, always. But do you see how you got the first setup? You're just in a little bit of a rush. You can count to 5. Okay, am I there? Yes, good. Hips, reach, hold. Okay, I'm hooked. 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and pull my heels to my butt. Kick out in front of me. Do you see it? Heels to your butt. Kick out in front of you. You got it. Knees up high. There you go. You're like a ballerina. Fantastic. 1, 2, 3. Hips reach. Don't yank it. Now reach up with your hands. There you go. One more. Now heels to your butt. Kick out in front of you. Kick out in front of you. It's okay. Reach. Heels to your butt. And now you have to let go of the rope a little bit so it can fall through your legs. You almost got it. You got the heels up. Let go of the rope. It will fall through. Then once it falls through, you pinch it again, kick it out. Can you see what I'm saying? Do you need a break? Yeah. Take a break. Do you want to jump up and try? Do you guys see how this is pretty simple and how it matches everything we've been talking about today? There, arms straight, hips. That was an arm pull. It's okay. Heels to your butt, kick out. There you go. Hook, hips, reach. Don't pull with your arms. Arms straight, arms straight, arms straight. Hang. Now heels to your butt. Now kick out in front of you. There you go. Put the foot on. Reach. Don't pull with your arms. There's no need to pull with your arms. It's okay. Do you see what I'm saying? Don't be so strong. Right? You have to wave your way up. You want to give it a shot? Just holding the position? We'll do it later when no one's watching. Yes, it's better. That's how I do it. I just work out in the closet like crazy, and then I come out and like, yeah, I'm ready to kill you. Does that make sense? You want to give it another shot? Come on, bud. You got it. Kick out in front of you. Kick out, lock that knee out, hands lower than you think. Take your time, do not yank, finesse, life skill. There, good. Heels to your butt, let go of the rope, kick out. Yeah, kick out. You almost got it. It's okay, no, that's perfect. You did exactly what you had to do. You just missed the rope. Hook the rope out with you. Bring the rope out with you. Scoop it out. Do you see what I'm saying? As the heel comes in, Mike, as the heel comes in, scoop the rope out. Scoop it with you out. It's okay. It's okay. We need to go dancing, you and I. A little dancing action.
We'll work out in the closet.
That's right. Let's work out in the closet. Hips. Reach. Heels to your butt. Scoop the rope out with you. You're so close to having it. Do you guys see how he's missing that rope there? Do you guys understand that? So that's what he needs to practice. And you can actually practice this lying down on the ground. Usually what I've done in the past, I've taken a rope, and I just have my athletes lie down. I just practice this thing. It's a little short, okay? But I just practice them scoop and kick. And it's the same drill. Scoop the rope, let it fall through. I'm holding. Can you just hold the rope for me on that side? So he is holding it like he's gravity, okay? I'm here. I let go, and now gravity pulls through, and I kick out. What's happening with you is as the leg is bending, you're losing the rope, and you're kicking out. There's no rope. You need to scoop the rope with you. So this little spin. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. You see that now? Do you want to give it a shot? See if you can do that? It has to be done slow. If you can do that, you're golden. And don't worry, the closet is always there. That's where I spend my time. There, okay. Foot, hip slow, reach, heel, and scoop the rope. There it is. Oh, it's so close. Oh, you started to get it. Did you feel it now? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Give it a round because that was good. What's going to happen is we're going to turn around, and all of a sudden he's climbing the rope. No problem. Can you guys see how now we created the steps? And once we have the positions, we can add the movement. And understanding the skill that we were working on today, it all adds up. There's no real strength prerequisite here. Can you hold on to the rope for 3 seconds? Yeah, sure, that can be a prerequisite. Can you do this little hip action? Sure, got it. Can you pull your heels to your butt as you hold on? Sure, got it. Can you do a slight knees to hips that at the most? You're good. You can climb the rope. But that's the ladder. So hopefully you guys understand that the muscle up is just me getting over an obstacle. That's all it is. I got over multiple obstacles. Any questions on what we saw today or we did today? Okay. Check this out. I share this information because I think it's interesting how it affects the larger audience. Right now in the gym, we come in here and we're like, oh, we just want to get fit and move well. And all of a sudden your coaches are telling you, you need to do it this way, you need to do it that way. And you're like, why? I already can do it. Leave me alone. Well, it makes a greater impact than you can possibly imagine. The ripples, you don't know how far they go. Examples, you have, Innovate comes in. Hey, I'm going to make some shoes, and I think the CrossFit community really needs these things. Reebok comes in. We're going to make some shoes and all this gear, and we're going to, sponsor the CrossFit Games, and we're going to make a product around these people that move a certain way. We're wired for movement. I set the example of if I get a suit tailored for myself, and I'm a little kyphotic, okay, and all of a sudden I have a son, and I say, you know what? This is a beautiful suit. You should wear it too. And he wears it, and all of a sudden he puts the suit on. He's like, this feels weird. It's a little hunchy. I guess this is the position you should be in a suit. So he adapts to that suit. He adapts to that product. Everything around us relates to how we are wired for movement. So when I get this picky about things, it's because I want it to trickle down a little further and not to adapt the wrong way. We see that we had an origin, which was awesome, and now we see this kind of palm tree effect I talk about. So it doesn't matter where you are on this palm tree, but understand that if you can jump from one palm to another, eventually we'll be able to create a more universal solution, a more universal adaptation that will end up in this big umbrella. And this big umbrella is kind of what we do in here. You're like, okay, we have 1,000 movements, 1,000 things they have to do. You're like, I didn't even know there was an overhead squat pistol or whatever, right?
That's right.
You're just like, what was that? But it all originates somewhere here. And along the way, there are certain adaptations. If we don't understand the adaptation that's occurring, we don't understand the effect that it creates around us. Does that make sense? You guys see that? It's as crazy as, you know, I say something and then we post it online, and then a couple months later, it comes back to me that someone in Singapore under a table, blah, 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 some crazy story. You're just like, how did the ripples even get there and come back to me? So these things, the same way I was talking about the compass earlier, 1 degree of difference makes a huge difference up top, is what we're talking about here. And what's really cool about it is that if we understand this, we can actually share this. And when we share this stuff, that's when it becomes successful. Anytime we accomplish something, let's say you win a gold medal, that can be a victory. But if you can't share it with people, it doesn't become successful. So when I get to share these things with you guys, it's success for me. But in order to make a success for you guys, if you had one epiphany, one victory today, you feel like, I got something out of it, it's important that you guys share it with someone else or do something about it. Not in my words, not Carl said, but I realized that this happened, and carry that on. And that's what's going to make this thing successful. Does that make sense, guys? So that's why I do what I do and why we all got together today and got tricked into a non-gymnastic seminar and more of a movement seminar. Cool? So if you had one epiphany, I will feel successful. You guys can take that with you guys. But what's going to make you successful is to be able to share that and make it something bigger than yourself. Cool? Any questions on what we did today? Anything? Sure. I'll come back tomorrow morning. I'll be here at 8.
So to open, when doing the, let's say, well, the movement,
Yeah, the kip?
yeah, the kip, what exercise would you recommend to do to kind of
Yes.
open the shoulders?
Totally. This is a whole nother seminar, but I'll just do a quick response. But hopefully it helps you a little bit. Joint, sliding surface, which is just kind of ironing out the muscles, right? And then length, muscular length. So the first thing you have to work on is on the joint. So if you're talking about your shoulders are here, and here you have a spine. You have 2 little shoulder blades right here. The first thing you need to hit is make sure that this guy is mobilized. So if you look at it from a profile and we know that it looks something like this, we need to push this sucker in a little bit. By pushing it in, it's going to become a little bit more mobile. That's number 1. Number 2, the shoulder blades are on top of these rib cage. It's the top of the rib cage. That needs to slide nicely. Very basic thing. As the arm comes up, the shoulder blade turns out. As the arm goes from 90 degrees overhead, it elevates. So it needs to be able to rotate and elevate and depress. So everything around that has to be rolled out. So lacrosse ball around that business, lacrosse ball on the spine, every single one of the vertebrae, you have to be able to hit that and mobilize that a little bit independently. Once you've done those 2 things, then you get into joint mobility. You can look at Mobility WOD, so mobilitywod.com, just go in there and look at shoulder joint mobility. Anyone that's there, work on those. Once that's taken care of from a joint perspective, we go into sliding surfaces. That's massage therapy, rolling on a foam roller, roll on a lacrosse ball. Get everything around those joints to be completely ironed out. And once you've done that, then you work on muscular length. And the muscular length is just basic stretching. You can do a bridge, you can do a kip, you can hang, you can have someone push you through, you can have someone rip your arm apart, whatever it is. But that's what you should be working on. So there's not one exercise, there's a million exercises. But that's the order, at least you know, joint, sliding surfaces, and muscular length. Start from the core and work to the extremities. Cool? What else, crew? Anything else? Any other questions? Any concerns?
Are most of these drills that we do today on your?
Yes, they are. Yeah, so on gymnasticsquad.com, you have most of the drills here. I'm constantly posting, so every week we post something, even if it's just like a 2-minute, 5-minute video. All this stuff shows up on the website. So we're constantly updating, yes. And a lot of this stuff is on the CrossFit Journal as well.
Do you talk about programming and steering on Gymnastic Squad?
I don't. I'm not authorized. No, it's not that. It's just there are many different philosophies about training, and there's not one way of programming. But most of our audience is CrossFit, so I let CrossFit take care of the programming. Yeah, it's very straightforward, actually. Anything else, guys?
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me. You guys are the bomb. Thank you.